Gather round, everyone. Settle down now. Welcome to Storytime with Indi. Today's story is all about a girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Once upon a time, in a green forest lived a girl called Little Red Riding Hood. Can you guess why she was called that? Let me tell you, she was very little and always wore the red cape her grandma made for her. One day, Little Red Riding Hood baked yummy muffins. With her mummy, she packed some in her basket. She took her basket of muffins and started to walk to Grandma's house. Little Red Riding Hood loved her grandma very much. Now, it so happened that a big bad wolf also lived in this green forest. The big bad wolf was very hungry. He was very clever too. The big bad wolf called out to Little Red Riding Hood in a very friendly voice. Oh, hello there. How are you this fine morning? Little Red Riding Hood did not say anything. She continued to walk. Mommy had told her not to talk to strangers. She was a good little girl to listen to her mummy's advice. But the big bad wolf kept talking to Little Red Riding Hood. My, are those muffins in your basket? They smell delicious. Little Red Riding Hood did not say anything at all. She was going to listen to Mummy's advice about not talking to strangers. You must be a very good baker to bake such delicious muffins, said the big bad wolf again. Thank you. Yes, I am a very good baker, said Little Red Riding Hood, forgetting Mummy's advice about not talking to strangers. She was very pleased to hear she was a good baker. Now, can you guess what the big bad wolf was up to? He was up to no good. He wanted to trick Little Red Riding Hood and eat the muffins. And maybe he wanted to eat Little Red Riding Hood too. Ooh, scary! May I walk with you? Asked the big bad wolf in a very friendly voice. I like walking with good bakers. Where are you headed, my good baker? Little Red Riding Hood thought it was okay to walk with such a friendly wolf. After all, he thought she was a good baker. Oh, all right then, said Little Red Riding Hood. I am going to visit my granny. It is not far. She lives in the red cottage by the big oak tree. Oh, Little Red Riding Hood forgot Mommy's advice. You should not be talking to strangers. You should not be telling strangers where Granny lives. Good day to you then, my good baker, said the big bad wolf. Very nice to meet you, the Little Red Riding Hood said goodbye to the big bad wolf and skipped along her way to Granny's house with her baskets of yummy muffins. The big bad wolf had a clever and nasty plan. He ran as fast as he could to Granny's house and knocked on the door. Knock, knock. Granny was resting in her bed. She called out in a small voice, "Who's there?" "Why, is it me, your granddaughter Granny? I have come to visit you with yummy muffins," said the big bad wolf in his sweetest voice. He did not wait for Granny to reply. The big bad wolf opened the door, pulled Granny out of bed, hid her in the cupboard. Poor Granny was rather scared. She could not say a word. The big bad wolf jumped into Granny's bed, pulled the covers up to her chin, and lay there waiting for Little Red Riding Hood to come. Soon there was a knock on the door. Knock, knock. "Good morning, Granny. How are you today?" said Little Red Riding Hood. "I brought you some yummy muffins for tea." Come in, dear," said the big bad wolf in his sweetest voice. But Little Red Riding Hood thought Granny's voice was rather strange. Still, she opened the door and walked in. "Oh my goodness, Granny, what big ears you have," she said, because the big bad wolf's 2 ears were sticking out of his head. "All the better to hear you with, my dear," said the big bad wolf. "What a big nose you have, Granny," said Little Red Riding Hood. "All the better to smell those yummy muffins, dear," said the big bad wolf. Little Red Riding Hood was a smart little girl. She knew this was not her granny. She said, "My granny does not have such sharp teeth." "Who are you? What have you done with Granny?" asked Little Red Riding Hood. "I am the big bad wolf, and I'm going to eat you up," said the big bad wolf, jumping out of his granny's bed. Little Red Riding Hood ran out of the door, calling for help. "Help! Help! Help! The big bad wolf is after me!" Now it so happened that a very nice and friendly woodcutter was in the green forest. That day he was cutting down some firewood with his axes. He heard Little Red Riding Hood crying for help. "I am coming, Little Red Riding Hood," he cried in a big, loud voice, so Little Red Riding Hood could hear him. The nice and friendly woodcutter threw his axe at the big bad wolf. The big bad wolf cried, "Owie!" and ran away. Little Red Riding Hood said, "Thank you very much for saving me," to the nice and friendly woodcutter, "but I must find Granny." So Little Red Riding Hood and the nice and friendly woodcutter ran back to Granny's house. They found Granny stuck in the cupboard. Poor Granny, she was rather scared. They helped her back to bed. The nice and friendly woodcutter put the kettle to boil and made tea. The Little Red Riding Hood and the nice and friendly woodcutter sat next to Granny's bed, and they all shared a lovely morning tea of yummy muffins and hot sweet tea. The end. Hello everyone. Thank you for reading with me. My name is Indika. I have autism. People like me with autism have very special interests. One of my interests is reading. I enjoyed reading with you today. I hope you enjoyed reading with me. Please come read with me whenever you like. Take care. Until the next story time. Goodbye for now.